Hello, folks. What's up? Welcome to the Nateland podcast. Welcome back. I'm here with Aaron Weber, Brian Bates. We want to thank you to Viore for sponsoring this episode of the Nateland podcast. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at viore.com/Nate. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75. More on this later. Welcome. I have a Halls. I don't think I'm sick though. It's a weird time to get you feel. I have normal, like I golfed. We went to Alabama. The weather's changing dramatically.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like with some sinuses. Got my taste of all my taste, all the stuff. That's the hard part though. I think it's going to be tough for winter because everybody gets colds and stuff in winter.
Yeah, and normal wear and tear. You know? And
Normal
now
wear
you
and
gotta
tear.
give a disclaimer every time
And you got to be like, it's not COVID.
right.
What if they're like, oh, what do you got? Fever, can't smell anything, taste anything. You're like, no, I think that is COVID. And you go, is it? I think it's just a cold.
You can taste that Halls?
I can taste this Halls.
All right. If you can't taste it, let us know.
Yeah, I'll let you know. No, if I can taste the Halls, feels good. I feel all right. I have not energy. My voice is just a little whack. But
I think it's good.
yeah, it's good. Sounds good. Sounds, what's up, everybody? Thanks for watching last week. We also don't have a front door to our house. Everybody liked the Laura episode. Well, let me tell you what Laura did. We're getting our door. It was like something was coming. Whatever the house we bought, came with the door. This house we bought came with the door, and then the paint was coming off, and it's got a lifetime warranty that they will fix it. This starts the beginning of the coldest day of the year. It's snowing outside right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
They knock on my door. It's like 9:30 in the morning. I get up. Obviously, I've been awake just recently, and I go to the front door for them to tell me we're about to take your front door. That's what they said. I have no idea that this is even happening, and Laura's gone, and I go hello, and I open the door just for them to go. We're about to take that door, and I go, well, it's snowing outside, and they go, we put something up, and so we don't have a door all week.
Kind of looks like a crime scene. Like the house is being
Yeah.
sealed off. Somebody got killed here or something.
We're preparing for after the election. That's what it looks like.
It does look like
yeah,
that.
we're boarding up. Just we're the only one in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
But just in case they make it this far, yeah, it's funny to it's very funny just to have the door taken.
Hey, we're taking your front door.
Taking
so
door.
funny.
I mean, last week would have been beautiful
Mhm.
week to take someone's front door. All October,
Mm-hmm.
September.
That's like when we did Huntsville, the comedy club back in July, and on the way down they said, "Oh, by the way, the place you're staying, painters are coming to paint the house while you're staying there this weekend." And there's nobody there. Like,
Yeah, that was during COVID.
yeah,
July.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like, well, when COVID was happening, they were able to go back to half capacity. So it's not like their schedule's full.
Right.
Yeah, stand up live. It's not like a normal, well, we have to pick someone, and you're the one that got picked.
Uh-huh.
It's like, what's next week? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like the house is pretty much sits empty Monday through
Oh, that's
Thursday.
true, yeah.
And then right as soon as I get down there, like, oh, painters are coming this
Yeah.
weekend, so they're gonna be painting around you all
We
weekend.
figure we do it while you were here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I thought about, I might say that as a joke on stage, which I do want to address because I've always, people always mention, you go do comics do material on stage that we talk about here, and it has happened. I told the funeral story last week, and and I did it on stage, and it was good. I honestly, this will be, I won't know for sure until we're done with this new hour, but you're going to get stuff. And from what I've talked to other comics, it just happens. Like,
Yeah.
this is how you come up with materials, remembering stories, telling stories, or being funny. And so I think it's going to happen. So
I will say, having seen something talked about here and then seeing you do it on stage, I mean, it's vastly different.
Yeah.
It's refined. It's stand up.
It's
It's not a
stand-up.
conversation.
You listen to a lot of podcasts. A lot of podcasts do that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Everybody.
Oh,
kinda does.
everybody. Everybody.
does. I know some people, but no one really in the general. To me, I think you'd be like, you're in on it.
Yeah.
It's you get to be a part of it. I mean, look, our special, if it's called The Greatest Average American, Nateland's a part of that.
Right.
Nateland was here when that happened, which then made them see it. So that's fun.
Yep.
All right, let's get into it. Kid nurse 1970. Wonder if they're a nurse, a child's nurse, and born in 1970.
Doogie Howser?
Could be it.
Wasn't
Could
he
be
a, was he a
Doogie.
nurse?
He was a nurse.
No, he was a doctor.
he was a doctor. He made it to doctor.
Okay.
MD.
It wouldn't be that good of a show
Yeah.
to go. I mean, it's a make believe show. And then they go, should we make him a doctor? And you go, let's not shoot too high.
Yeah, that's not realistic.
Let's make him just be a nurse.
This is like a receptionist at the hospital.
Yeah. You're like, so what? And who can get this job? Everybody can get this job? You're like, yeah, it's not that hard of a job to get. He's the smartest guy in the world. He's the smartest kid ever. My daughter's working. She's obsessed with horses. And there's a Creekside horse something. It's called Creekside. I don't know what it's called, but there's horses there.
Yeah.
And she's like helping. She goes and sits around, waits. She goes and we would give her ride. Like, you pay for rides or training, and she's truly obsessed with horses. We don't know where it came from. No one in our family rides horses, but she's obsessed. And she goes there and goes, I want to stay and help. And they'll be like, well, you're 8, so we can't really have you helping. But sometimes they can do some stuff like lead a horse here and there, learning little things where they're being watched. And she goes, well, I'll just wait. And she just waits them out until they go, all right, you know what, Harper, you can come over here. And then she goes and gets help, which is my sign that she loves this.
Yeah.
Because usually if a kid just liked horses, they would just want to ride them and then be done with it. I mean, she's cleaned up the manure.
Yeah.
She's giving it a go.
That's awesome.
All right, Kid Nurse 1970. Just when I didn't think the show could get any better, this was an awesome episode with an adorable family. Each episode just gets better, and as an aspiring comic, I love the insight into your life. Thanks for sharing, and much success and blessings. Well, thank you, Kid Nurse 1970. She's getting out of the nurse game.
Or he. Right?
Or he. Whoever it is getting out of the nurse game and going to be a comedian. Sure, your parents are proud. That's the Michael McIntosh. What happened to hello, folks? We voted and everything. I said it this time. Can I just say I didn't realize Nate, Aaron, and Brokeback Munchkin were clean comics until you addressed it. That's a sign of true talent when you don't even notice. And also, let me be honest, swearing isn't needed to be funny. All 3 of you are the truth. Respect. Thank you, Michael. I did forget hello, folks, last week. I just forgot it because we're new. It's new.
Right.
Yep.
And I got into it. Harper gave a sign off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He probably's like, I didn't make it that far.
Who's Harper?
Who's this Harper you're talking about? Barfy Man 362. I would like to know the secret to Nate's crisp shark. Golly, dude.
You were doing well.
Barfy Man 362. I was on a good streak from even last week.
Yeah.
Barfy Man 362. I would like to know the secret to Nate's crisp shark cheek.
Sharp.
That's a tough one. Crisp, sharp cheek.
Yeah.
Can you say that?
Crisp, sharp cheek shave line.
That would be like
that's tough to say, and I said it pretty slow.
Crisp, sharp cheek shave line. Does he hold a ruler up whilst trimming? Whilst. You don't see whilst thrown out there that much.
Okay, Shakespeare.
Is that used a lot?
Not very often. It's like betwixt.
Definitely.
It's like, who are you trying to impress?
Definitely not in YouTube comments. Whilst.
No, I meant to fix that.
From Barfy Man.
Did he say whilst?
He said whilst, but I meant to change it to while because sometimes people throw stuff in there just to mess with you.
You should have went with crisp, sharp cheek.
I didn't think that was going to be a
throw
problem.
some commas in there next time, man.
Whilst trimming. I get my beard trimmed at the Moose in Nashville. Eric Miller. He does my hair, gives my haircut and beard. I tell you what, for all the men, I get a lot of stuff. Get your beard done right, Aaron. Go get your beard done.
Okay.
You would like it more than you think. It really looks good.
I did it once and I did like it.
You're young.
Yeah.
You're a mess right now. No one
Yeah.
cares. No one expects you to look good.
Okay,
Get that beard done.
But
man.
one day when you hit your 30s, people are going to want you to clean up a
You
little
got to
bit.
start taking care of it.
They're gonna. You can't just barrel in the room with that beard and Notre Dame hat, and then you painted your jacket black, You have the same jacket on, but it's black now. Did
You
paint
did,
it?
didn't you? You
Did you
painted it.
paint it?
Look.
No, I had this one first. I've had this one for a while.
Okay.
This black one.
Painted
it.
I think you forgot to paint underneath the
It is
collar.
the exact same type of jacket.
Yeah.
But it's just a little different color.
They're not gonna make fun of me next week, and then you just gotta brush painting your jacket. We're gonna see little. How'd you get that horse to stay the same color?
No, it's red. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you put
So
painter's tape over it.
the beard, though, it is a. I get asked a lot about this, and if men, if you have a beard or a haircut, go do it in a proper place.
Mhm.
And it's something that I got my haircut at Supercuts for years. Sports Clips, loved it. You get your, they give you a towel. You watch ESPN. It's the greatest thing. You know, my hair grows quick. I mean, I loved it. But you go get it properly done. You look good. It makes you look good. I think it makes you. He cuts mine to make me look thinner, where the
Yeah.
way it's faded down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm doing a little more mustache now. We're just trying stuff.
I don't know if any guy looks worse with a beard. This is my theory on it.
No, they don't.
Because there was a while where a bunch of politicians started growing out beards. Ted Cruz grew one.
Yeah,
Paul Ryan grew one. They all looked so much better.
Yeah.
I tried it. It didn't work.
Did
How long
were you looking
did
at your politicians' baseball cards? You talk like, did you trade them? Someone traded you Paul Ryan for Ted Cruz, and you go, I don't know.
That's not a fair trade.
This is Ted's brew. He's got a beard. Paul doesn't.
Yeah.
This was before, and that's when Paul grew a beard. No,
How much did you try it? You tried it for a while?
Try to goatee.
Oh, goatee. That's
You should do one for the people at home.
I got that video.
Throw a go. Oh yeah.
Me wearing one.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know if it works.
I think I do know. It does not work.
Yeah, Brian. This is what we're doing. This is what we got. He's 48 years old. You don't think the man's got a look? His look is done.
49.
49 done. Why don't you ever just let me? I always shave a year off.
Yeah, I know.
Should let it happen. Yeah. Go. Honestly though, if someone wants to do it, Christmas is coming around. A lot of wives listen to this. If you want to give your husband some kind of fun, give him this. Give him a day to go do it, and then and you don't have to. I go do it. You can do it once a month.
Mhm.
Wildcat Grad, 30 Seconds of Fun. That's a great title for a special /tour. I do like 30 Seconds of Fun as a title. You know what? Might have been with the Tennessee Kid. I might have got to put it on there at the end. I can't remember being like my production company. I don't have a production company.
Mhm.
But if I have one, I thought about it being 30 Seconds of Fun Productions. I thought, and I had it count down the clock, like, 27, 28, 29, 30. And then be 30 Seconds of Fun. So I have thought about that being as that. It could be a tour.
Yeah, it's a good title.
I like a tour name, 30 Seconds of Fun. Walker Wilhoit. Nate, sorry about the loss of your grandmother. Hearing the story about your family at their funeral reminded me of something after my grandfather's funerals. All right. You might have to read this. For some reason, I'm having trouble. Nate, sorry about the loss of your grandmother. Yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Hearing the story about your family at the funeral reminded
You started all the way over.
reminded me of something after my grandfather's funeral several years ago. We went to a local church in our hometown.
Diner.
After, all right, just read this. This is a long one.
All right.
Sorry, Walker. For some reason I'm not following along. Maybe it's
That's
the
all right.
COVID.
All right. So his grandfather's funeral several years ago, we went to a local diner in our hometown after the graveside service. The waitress walked up to the table and recognized my uncle, who she had not seen in many years since he moved out of the area. As she filled his coffee, she attempted to quickly catch up and ask how he was doing. He said, "Actually, not that great. My dad died and we just finished the funeral." Obviously, not understanding a word the man said over the loud diner, she instinctively responded, "Oh, that's awesome." It took everything for my family not to make eye contact with each other, lest we burst out in laughter. My uncle kindly restated what he previously said, and the waitress felt terrible. I imagine the mistake haunted her, but it absolutely made our family's day. Just what we needed to lighten things up. Loving the podcast. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Walker. That's a pretty good one. We had a little pinch hitter come in.
I'm trying to. I don't think the
Yeah.
word church is in this whole paragraph. You saw diner.
Yeah. You're trying to find church?
Your
Is
brain's
it not?
jumping around, man?
They were at a funeral. I
Okay.
figured they went to a church.
But usually when I do something like that, it's like that word is somewhere. It's like
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
a line down.
Yeah.
I was looking for church somewhere to build. It's not in there, man.
It's not. I just put it in there. It's in there. I'm seeing the word church. TB, at one point, Brian became the Barbara Walters of the Bargatze love story. He was leaning forward to hear answers to questions he must already know. I heard him say, "So how did you guys meet?" Like he was Wolf Blitzer. It was adorable, and I loved it. It was very good. Good job, Brian. Ryan Dance, boat ramp. Should take some pointers from Harper. Her 922 joke was awesome. Also, someone let Laura know Vandy is worse than Kentucky at football, so her analogy should have been Alabama versus Vandy when comparing income levels, because we all know historically accuracy is paramount for this podcast. Well, bye, folks. People are using a lot of words. It's a lot of like, I don't know. These sentences are longer.
I
than
think
normal.
people try to flex a little bit in these comments sometimes.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah, some of them they say it's like the same word. Oh, they get me running on a sentence and I don't know where I'm at. That's what happens. I'm ready for the sentence to be over. Is this how smart people write? You write long sentences? Write longer than normal? I just know like manual labor type of writing. We get to the point. Is this college educated writing, Aaron?
I can't tell, man. Ryan Dance, maybe Bill Dance,
Bill Dance's
maybe
son?
related to
Bill Dance's
Bill
boy?
Dance's boy. Yeah.
Call me boat ramp.
Boat ramp's
That's
good.
what Bill would call.
You remember that old commercial? It was God, what were those phones that like you just say beep? It was like a walkie-talkie. They were cell phones. but they were-
Nextel.
Yeah, it was a commercial about if firefighters ran the world.
Yeah.
And it was a bunch of firefighters in like the Senate.
Yeah.
And they were like, beep, beep. What is this? It's a bunch of paper that says we need clean water. You guys want clean water? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just did it real quick. That's
Yeah.
kind of that's how you would do it.
That's how I would do it. Get to
Yeah.
the point.
What is
Nextel.
all this flowery nonsense?
I had a Nextel radio.
Would you use the walkie-talkie a bunch on it?
Yeah, because those are the jobs that I had. So I would use it a bunch. And the hard part, you'd leave it on. If you ever went in, we'd go like McDonald's to eat during lunch. And so you'd go in, you'd be waiting in line. And the guy in the truck would just start yelling stuff through the thing really loud.
Inappropriate stuff.
Inappropriate stuff. And you're just trying to grab it because you forget to turn it off. And I mean, he's just saying crazy
So it just starts coming through right away. You don't have to accept it.
No. That would be it's a walkie-talkie.
Oh man.
Nextel was great. It had a run, man.
Yeah, they were really killing it for a
They were
minute.
killing it.
Yeah.
I liked it. They would work to Decatur, Georgia. I always remember Decatur, Georgia, because that's what they told me. My phone, it'll work to there, and then it'll cut out.
Mhm.
Huh.
So we would drive all over. And so every time someone brings up Decatur, Georgia, I'm always like, my Nextel phone would work to that town, and that's it. Jennifer G. Harper was reading so fast, it felt like she was trying to prove something. Harper's a better reader than me. Harper's smarter than me.
She was the best reader at the table.
Yeah.
Somebody commented that.
Yeah.
I thought
Someone
that-
said she was the smartest at the table, but
Yeah, she's smart.
yeah.
Christopher Stanley. Wait a minute. I'm at the hour 28-minute mark. Did they just gloss over the fact they met Christ Novoselic? I don't know. I mean, Christ. I don't how do you
Novoselic?
Novoselic? What the heck? I'm looking for Laura. What the heck is going on here? We did just gloss over that fact. We met him on the Paul Allen cruise. It's where everybody was there. All these celebrities were there. I performed at it. He was the first one we met. He was there with his wife, and then me and Laura started talking to him. It was before I performed, so we just kind of randomly talked to him. Me, who knows nothing about music, I know who Nirvana, but I have no idea who he is.
Mhm.
And that was the first one we got done. Laura's told me that's who that was.
Hmm.
And then we ended up talking to him a good bit, and then he flies his plane, telling us about that. Telling me he was trying to convince. I was telling him, I was like, we should do it. And he's like, you should do it. You should be flying. Yes, so we did gloss over that. Sorry. Merritt P. Hearing Laura say Big J is more my speed is like hearing Barry Manilow say Ozzy Osbourne is more my speed. That is very true. That is very surprising that people are always surprised because if he's here, she'll go. She's going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go. But if I'm here, I'll go. But I'm not usually here. And so that's the one that she'll go down. And she doesn't. I don't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's like she's as close as I am to Jay. Jacqueline Higgins. Jacqueline Higgins. As an out of work server, that comment about marrying lotions was gold. Love the podcast and was excited to finally meet your wife. The idea at the beginning about clean versus dirty comedy is right on. There we go.
What was that idea? I don't remember that.
What was it?
When she puts all the lotions together in one bottle.
Oh, marrying the lotion. You talking
Yeah.
about that? No, the idea at the beginning about clean versus dirty
Oh,
comedy is right
I
on.
don't know. Laura put this comment in, so I'm not sure.
Ooh, Jacqueline. Laura's a big fan of you, Jacqueline. Yeah, she does marry all the lotions. Let me read a couple more and then Jeff Wyatt, very impressed by Laura, particularly her thoughts on family finances, which were roughly, if I'm unhappy with how much income we have, I should go make more. Not rely on my spouse. She's tempered it with the if he isn't making so much, he shouldn't be spending more counterpoint. Love the self-reliance, and it was clear she absorbed her dad's work ethic and expectation that she would be content whether scraping by or doing well financially. That is all true. I mean, is that not a long sentence? Does it seem like big work? I mean,
Well, it's not one sentence.
do people use this gigantic words in just everyday life?
Which one?
The one
I
you
don't
just
know, it
read.
just felt like a lot.
Which
She
word?
tempered it with if he isn't making much, he shouldn't be spending much counterpoint. Love the self-reliance, counterpoint self-reliance. And it was clear she absorbed her dad's work ethic and expectation that she'd be content whether scraping by or doing well financially. I feel there's a much easier way to say that sentence.
I thought you nailed
But
it, man.
I think I nailed it. I'm not even saying that it's wrong
Right.
that Jeff did something wrong. I'm saying I think I'm hanging out with different people than y'all are. That's what I'm saying. I think I don't have friends that would ever say any of that. They would never use a lot of those words.
Maybe this guy.
Yeah, well, he went to Notre Dame,
Oh.
and so you're smarter than everybody. But that's what I feel. I feel like some words. I just think I'm in a. I don't think I'm not a smart guy. I'm not a good sentence. I'm not a big word guy. But who knows, man? Maybe that's how you guys talk. That's what I think y'all do. That's how you talk to dumb people.
You said you're not a big word guy.
Yeah.
You talk for a living, man. You do pretty well.
I pick my words are much different.
That's true.
My words.
That's true. You don't have to write out your set either. That'd be very different.
Yeah, my words are a lot different. All right. Vioria is an investment in your happiness. For our listeners, they are offering 20% off your first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at Vioria.com/Nate. That's VUORI.com/Nate. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns. Go to Vioria.com/Nate and discover the versatility of Viori clothing. I ordered mine. It's supposed to come today.
I got my fiance some leggings from
Oh.
there, which is a great gift. I usually bomb on gifts
Yeah.
Mhm.
for people. Like I got my fiance a watch that she never wears. She's like, I've never
Yeah.
worn a watch.
Yeah.
So I got her some leggings, and they came real quick, and she loves them. She's been
Yeah.
wearing them nonstop. So
I think it's super comfortable clothing. When I was looking at it, and it was I ordered some. I've been working out. You guys probably can tell. And so I need some winter working out stuff because we work outside. And so I needed some stuff that was like good, and this has got it. Those are the leggings.
That's what I got.
I need some leggings. That's what I need. I think you
There you
wear
go.
them. I know. I'll get some leggings for women. I could wear women with leggings. Can men wear those? You know how much stuff? I mean, they probably can wear them, right?
Meggings.
No?
Wasn't that a thing for a while?
Meggings can do it.
Is that what they called it? Male leggings?
You know how much stuff I buy, and I go and I have to ask, is this for a man or a woman? I end up being a lot. There's a lot of stuff I go, I'll end up liking it, and I'm like, is this for a guy? And they're like, no, this whole store is not
Wait,
for a guy.
what articles of clothing?
Like at Lululemon?
Yeah, like Lululemon. I can grab
okay.
some stuff.
Sportswear stuff.
It's just got some more color to it, and I like some more color. And and then a lot of times, but I've had shoes. I've seen shoes at like Foot Locker, and you'll be like, I like those, and they're like, hey, this is for babies. They're for lady babies, and I'm like, oh, are they?
Lady baby.
Lady
And I go,
babies.
you don't have these in size 10?
A man boys,
A man,
not a lady baby.
lady babies. That's who they're for.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
this week, we went to we had Thanksgiving. Everybody, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I think Aaron, you ate in your closet alone. Go ahead. Aaron, go ahead.
I had a meal with my fiance, had a couple friends over. It was great, man.
Oh, that's how you contact tracing.
Yeah, is that safe?
It was friends that I'd already been. Look, I don't need to defend myself, but it's people that I've already been around.
Yeah.
From comedy.
Oh,
So
healthiest people.
Yeah.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
We had a little gathering, but we all went in our separate corners and
Yeah.
stayed apart. Did you guys see the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade?
No.
I caught a little of it, and Ronald McDonald had a float,
Oh, wow.
and there was a float, but then in a car, he was in the back of a car with Grimace, and he was wearing a face shield.
Really?
I've got it pulled up.
Yeah.
And it's just, first of all, they taped it ahead of time, so there's no crowd there. It's just him outdoors in the back of a car with Grimace.
Yeah.
And he's wearing a face shield.
Did Grimace no face shield?
Grimace did not have a face shield.
Grimace is what I hear anti-vaxxer.
Really?
So could that have played into it? I don't know this for sure.
Grimace is
But
anti-vax.
What I hear in the McDonald's community I'm a part of, Grimace is anti-vaxxer. And thinks masks are a joke.
So that's Ronald McDonald taking precautions because he doesn't want to be around Grimace.
Ronald McDonald,
very anti-science.
much more,
That's interesting. I figured Grimace was very careful. That's why he asked Ronald to wear it.
No, that Ronald says to Grimace, you are the high risk we're talking about here. You're the one that can't get it.
Grimace is overweight.
Grimace is wildly overweight.
I don't know about wildly.
Huh?
I don't know about wildly. Okay, look, he's going through some stuff. I'll give you that.
I thought you had a picture of both of them together in the car.
Oh, yeah, let me get that.
That's that's pretty crazy though. There's a lot of that though that I see with the mask that's annoying. I always think with the NFL, are they not testing everybody? Like if they
What do you mean?
like the NFL refs and the coaches.
Yeah,
and
then they still wear
if
the
a
mask.
player's on the bench, he has to put a mask on. It's like you can't. They're playing, dude. Like,
Yeah.
aren't they not getting tested? And then when they get tested, they should be like, you're like, once you pass, you get tested, and then you pass this area, and you guys are good.
You would think so,
be
right?
Normal.
Kind of like the NBA did.
I think they do. Ronald McDonald did it. Yeah. I mean, I think Ronald McDonald. I mean, I think they like showing.
Safety.
I think everybody does it for look at us because you're in a situation. If you're probably on TV, you don't need this mask, but they want to have.
You also don't want to cover up that
moneymaker.
iconic face, with the mask, right? So you got to do the welder's mask.
Yeah,
I learned that the first Ronald McDonald was Willard Scott. You guys know Willard Scott?
No,
yeah. Oh, really?
Longtime Today Show weatherman.
He was the first Ronald
He
McDonald.
created the character.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny that on that mask too, Grimace is how tall he is over Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
If he turned and coughed, it would actually the way his mask is, it would funnel.
It would go right down.
The mask. So Ronald McDonald has one. His mask is sometimes
He's wearing
they do
it upside down.
Wearing it upside down around his neck, so the top is open. Grimace, perfect height. Where if he turned and coughed, just shoot right down.
Shoot right down. Get trapped.
You can make an argument that Ronald is trying to get it. And when they gave him that mask, and he goes, "How can I get it?" He goes, "Wear the mask upside down." And he goes, "Oh my God!" He goes, I was just not going to wear a mask." He's like, "You know what's even better than not wearing a mask? wear it upside down and stand next to someone a little bit taller than you
Trap that COVID in,
and
dude.
trap that COVID right in.
That's funny.
We had a big week. This week we're going to talk about clutch performances. So it's going to be sports, and if you're sitting there going, sports, I don't care. You got to look, as you bared with us the last sports episode, we are going to make it interesting to you, the person that doesn't care about sports. A lot of people love sports. A lot of people don't like sports. And we're going to make it where anybody's going to be able to sit and listen to this. Vanderbilt had a big weekend. We had the first woman play in a football game in the Power 5 conference.
Right. Women
have been a part of teams in smaller conferences, but never in an SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, a giant conference, ACC. And Vanderbilt did it. So we got that. Lost 41-0.
She never got a chance.
She did one kickoff on the second half. It's the only time her or just any kicker would have been on the field.
Yeah.
Derek Mason then was immediately fired, which is crazy. We say that it has to be because of that. The whole world watched this.
Yeah, for the first time ever.
And as Vandy fans, everybody's like, "Oh, that's good." And we're just sitting there as a Vandy fan. It's just.
I was going to ask you how it felt knowing millions of people watching Vanderbilt for the first time. Did that feel?
I don't think I didn't want it in the light that we had it in 41 to.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we were had a winning record and we had to get her, it would feel better to me than the way we got her.
Yeah.
We're 0-8. We're gonna lose. We're playing Georgia next. We're gonna lose Georgia. It's bad. And then we bring her in.
Yeah.
She gives a halftime speech, which is, I think, that's a little crazy to think this girl. This girl was the only winner on the team on the field, by the way. She just won an SEC tournament. Our women's soccer team is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like she's super athletic, but it was, to go talk to these guys. These guys are on it was 0-7 and about to be 0-8. And she's like, "Why are y'all not excited on the sideline?" You're like, we have a different sport going on over here than your awesome winning soccer team. Yeah, we're not super thrilled.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I got to tell you, I, along with most people, I think, wanted to see her kick a field goal. But the fact that not only did Vanderbilt not score, but never got in field goal range is the funniest thing.
They only got across
ever.
the 50 once, I think.
I think so.
I think once, and I think it was to the 40. And then we went right back to the 50.
That is so funny. They didn't let her try a 57-yarder or whatever they were.
Wow.
It would have been a 60.
Yeah, well,
you could.
What I'm saying is the fact that they never even got in a position where they could let her.
Her only chance would have been for us to try a field goal on third down or second down, and it would have been an NFL record. That's all that could have happened. I think they wanted to get her. She would have kicked an extra point.
Yeah,
and they couldn't do it. And honestly, it cost Mason the job.
Yeah.
Mason will definitely not probably let women ever play again in anything
he'll
be the one that just says no, and they're like, "But she's really good," and he's like, "I've done this before.
It
doesn't end well for me." It's like she goes on to have a great career, and I always end up getting fired. So we're on a coaching search now, which is if you're a sports
when we
fan,
take your defensive coordinator, it's not going to be so funny to you.
I'm hoping Clark Lee, Notre Dame defensive coordinator, played at Vanderbilt, MBA, from here, hometown,
be a great
close
hire.
to Corbin. It would be that's who I'm rooting for. There's a few I like.
Yeah.
But a coaching search is, I know people that are college sports get how fun they are. They're so fun. You start tracking private jets. You put in tail numbers, being like, "Why is he flying there? Why is he going there?" And it's the funnest. It's like NBA free agency. I love NBA free agency because you just don't know what's going on, and everybody's and you're just talking about all the possibilities that could happen.
You remember when everyone thought Gruden was coming to Tennessee? How obsessive people got. Like Gruden's mother-in-law owns property outside of Knox County or whatever.
They start getting down.
Insane.
I know. If no one's into sports, you could make fun of someone for that because it is very funny. I do it too, where you're going, his cousin he had a cousin that had a long layover at Nashville Airport once, and I heard her cousin was on the phone with him and said, "You know, this looks like a nice town." So, something, you know,
I loved it when
that's how far they go.
yeah, Peyton Manning when he visited the Titans
Mhm.
and he wore an orange like pullover. Everyone was like, "It's a good sign right there. It's a good sign. He's a Vol. It means he's coming here." And then he immediately goes to the Broncos who wear orange.
Yeah,
But it never crossed anyone's mind that might be the
maybe he
problem.
was doing. He played for Tennessee. He's got a lot of Tennessee stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I thought for sure he was coming.
Mm.
I also thought Brady was coming. When Tom Brady was with the Titans, talking about him going to the Titans, I knew he was. I heard he was at a golf course near here practicing with his son, and so I heard that, and I'm like, oh no. You always hear they visit schools,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so that's always a big thing. You know, they went and visited the
NBA, I
school.
remember hearing that here.
I don't think that was true though.
You never know if it's true. LeBron visited schools in L.A. when he was going to L.A., and I was watching that, and that ended up being very true.
Mm.
His kids went there.
He's hard to miss. You know?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's the thing when you're that big.
Right.
You can't.
It was just some other 6'9"
Even with the
millionaire.
mask on,
Yeah.
they might not know you're LeBron, but they're going to be like, you're somebody. But you're that in shape
Right.
with that mask on.
Just that big. You have Shaq with a mask. It's like, wait, is that Shaq? Yeah, of course it is.
I think Shaq could walk around with a bag on his head.
He's
and
got to
you would-
be. Is there a more recognizable from a distance person in the world than Shaq?
Manute Bol.
Maybe,
Manute Bol's so skinny.
but he didn't have the same level of fame as Shaq. Shaq's
Yeah.
And he's
everywhere.
dead.
He's in every commercial.
Yeah.
He's the new Papa John's.
Shaq went undercover as an Uber driver and people didn't recognize him.
But he's
There's-
sitting up front. If they got him sitting up front with a beard and stuff.
Yeah.
If you're not going to expect it, if he walks around, I don't think you're not.
Yeah.
You're not recognizing him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're figuring it out.
Yeah.
But if he's in up front in an Uber, you know, you could just not be paying attention. And then,
But you're thinking this guy's enormous.
yeah, but they probably got him in an SUV.
Yeah, I think he had
Still.
to
And
try to
so-
do a Jamaican accent or something.
Yeah. Patrick Ewing, Jamaican.
This 7-foot
It's a-
tall
yeah,
random
yeah.
Jamaican guy.
Yeah.
Patrick Ewing's Jamaican, which is always blows me away when I hear him talk. I
Mhm.
had no idea until he was a coach.
Yeah.
I never heard him talk. And then you're like, oh, he's like from Jamaica.
I had no idea till you told me.
Oh, yeah. Right now? Or
I mean,
when
you
I
told me
didn't
that
know
just-
till I heard you talk about it.
Just
Yeah.
recently.
I talk about it quite a bit.
It's his go-to.
I bring it up. Yeah. You know, Patrick Ewing's Jamaican. And then people are like, what? That's like the Iris or the actor.
Idris Elba.
Idris.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like from
England. Yeah.
And and he's so good.
Mhm.
You see him in these movies. I just watched Molly's game.
He's great
Which-
in that. Yeah.
We could talk about being a clutch performance
Yeah.
in poker. Super clutch. Molly was. If you've seen, I remember I read the book. You know, I think I read the book. Almost positive I did. Last night I was like, did I read this book? And I just don't remember. I don't remember anything.
You and I saw that movie together,
Yeah,
and I think you told me you read the book.
I did read the book. I love the book, and but I don't
Did
remember.
I read
yet.
it?
That was a
Oh yeah,
quick
I
turnaround.
loved it. I loved it.
I remember I loved it.
That was such a quick turnaround. I
Yeah.
don't know if I read it.
One of the
No, you
best
read
books
it.
I ever read.
Yeah, actually, it's my favorite book.
It's
You
fine.
probably read the back of it. You know, you read that's all you need.
No, I read
sometimes.
the whole thing. American
Yeah.
Sniper. I read it, loved it.
Mhm.
There was one a long time ago. I used to always read, any books about the military, and another one I read about not Fallujah. Is Fallujah that's in Iraq? The one town that's like crazy.
Yeah.
And there was another town that they mentioned that was crazy. That was the amount of fighting that would go on in this town was unreal. It just was a constant fight, and it's all just this tiny town. And they killed the guy that was like Mr. Iraq, like he was like the built
Mm.
guy. You know, like what are those guys called? The World, Mr. World.
Oh,
or-
the world's strongest men.
No, you're
No,
talking about
it's
like
like-
bodybuilders.
bodybuilders, but they were. He was
Mr.
Mr. Iraq.
Iraq.
Yeah, yeah.
It just sounds so funny. I thought you were just saying he was like
that all
Like a guy that was known in
Yeah,
that
just
town.
like a famous
Yeah.
enemy combatant. He's Mr. Iraq.
I think he was Mr. Iraq,
it's probably right.
and he worked
All
out,
right,
and
I'll look him up.
and then he was killed. But yeah, I do remember. I mean, I remember her book, but yeah, I just don't remember. I mean, I've seen Molly's Game, and I watched it last night as if I didn't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I just forget.
Written and directed by Aaron Sorkin, creator of West Wing.
Oh yeah, wow, a lot of West Wing stuff in that movie. That's what I want. That's more complaint I felt. It's too
West
Wing
Wingy.
heavy.
It's the same kind of thing, man.
Yeah, a lot of words.
This might be here talking about. I'm not going to take a stab at his name, but
Izzat Ibrahim Adouri.
mm-hmm.
That's something. At least would be like, is that all right? He's like, yeah. I think he would turn around if I said that. You know what I mean? I think for sure. He wouldn't just keep walking. He would. Izzat Abraham Adouri. Yes. Did I get that? He's like, yeah. You got it. Enough.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think that's what you're talking about.
Wikipedia asking for more money. They always ask for money. I've given them money. You ever given them money?
I gave them $3. All they asked for is $3 one time. I was like, I can give them $3.
They go, guys, they always break it down. You know, it'd be like if I just said, you know what? If everybody in the world gave me $1, I'd be a billionaire. That's the same.
They go, if everybody who goes to Wikipedia gave us $3, we'd never have to ask for money again.
It's a very, it's like, yeah, dude, everybody would live that life. You know what? If just my whole neighborhood gave me $10, I would be able to buy a car. And everybody's like, you know, that is a good point.
GoFundMe does that now. I did a $100 donation and it come up $115, and I was like, what? Is there tax? And then GoFundMe was like, we don't make money, so we need a donation. They just put in 15.
I always do it. They should do it. If you want to do it, though, it needs to be $3. Just automatically be like, there's our $5 charge. 15's a lot because you're usually giving like 100 or you're giving something a little bit more. And then, so when you throw 15 on top of that, I always take it out of the person I'm giving it to. I always.
I gave 85.
Well, the kid that needs a heart, I go, I'll give him 85. They're going to ask me for 15. I think that's I'm going above it. I said I'm willing to do 100. It doesn't matter how the 100 gets broken up. That's not on me.
Yeah,
I'll give 85 to the kid.
Yeah, you're helping two causes.
But they should just take, just be. I think if most people would just do that, be like, we're just taking $5. If they came out and just said it, everything you donate, we're going to take an extra $5 because we have to run this for this awesome thing to work. Someone's got to pay for it, so everybody just always chip in an extra $5, and I think everybody would be like, okay.
I'll say I've made a few GoFundMe donations, and they do that now. They say, you want to give us a tip?
Yeah,
and nah.
You say no.
Y'all can figure it out.
Yeah.
You know?
How would they figure it out? Ads. Viore.com/Nate. Yeah, Wikipedia always does. I've done it, but they ask more than they act like it. They always say the same thing. It's awkward, but this is Monday.
Oh, it's Cyber Monday.
Oh, it's Cyber Monday.
I guess it is.
This is the 7th appeal we've shown you. Just you specifically?
Yeah, they're keeping track of how many times.
It's awkward, but this Monday we need you to help. We don't have salespeople. Well, maybe you should get some salespeople.
Yeah, that's obvious.
But fewer than 2% give. I've given. I get, I do give, but then you think you give and you're like, all right, now back off me. And then they make it worse. If you're seeing Holly right now, Holly's got a cone on her neck. Holly got bit. Harper bit her.
She looks like Ronald McDonald.
Yeah. That's
what his face mask looks like.
That's what Ronald McDonald has, a dog cone on his head. Holly stayed at a place, and I don't think it's not the place's fault. These dogs play. Holly's pretty energetic and rough. She's always one place she stayed at. We go. Holly's not a mean dog. She's not bad. She doesn't do anything, but she's got a lot of energy and plays a little rough. And they go, your dog was definitely the most spirited. It's just a nice way to put it. Your dog's out of her mind. And we got her home. Laura's giving her a bath last night, and I mean, she just got a hole in her chest
Golly.
and got bit. And she's got the cone on.
Did you take her to a vet?
I could see that it was a hole.
I mean, you already had the cone.
We already had the cone.
Okay.
No, we did take her to the vet. I was trying to make a joke about that,
Oh.
but Laura took her to the vet this morning.
Oh, okay.
And the vet's like, yeah, it's a hole in her chest. So I gave her some medicine, but yeah, it's a dog. She got bit. I watched on Shark Tank last night. They made someone had a dog mask. They were for COVID. So they made a mask for dogs. And they come out and they're wearing it. It's real long, and the guys have it on. And so you're like, who's gonna wear this mask? Yeah, yeah. K9 mask. And so they're wearing it though when they walk out. And you're like, well, no one's gonna wear that. Like I thought it's gonna be some mask that you can breathe in.
Yeah.
It looks ridiculous, but you can breathe in it good. And they go, no, it's for dogs. That was the big reveal. Like this
was it just sagging?
No, it was sticking. The mask on theirs was going out. I mean, they just had it on. They had it tight, and they explain, mask. I mean, it was pretty good, because they always do like a little show almost,
right?
And it was pretty good that they did it where, you were like, oh, these dudes this is for humans, and you're not even thinking it's for anything else. And then they do a sign down and like, that's a dog. Then everybody was like, oh, I love that. And the
are dogs getting COVID?
No one knows, dude. You can't. I mean, you ask them where they've been.
It's a pretty big question.
Yeah, we ask Holly all the time. We say, hey, what do you feel? Were any of the dogs coughing at the place you stayed? And then Holly, she has double talking in English, and so we don't know what she says.
Right.
So we don't know if she has COVID. She might. I definitely don't, but she probably does. I think some dogs got COVID.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Enough to go, let's start a company.
No.
About dog masks.
So a big part, it wasn't always COVID. It was also like fires in California, like breathing that bad air.
Oh, okay.
That's another one.
That's
they go
fair.
walk the dogs. They only got one deal with the Damon. He did a deal, man. He was basically like, I'll give you the money and I want 45% of the company. Versus, and they're like, would you do 40? He goes, I'm only doing 45, so y'all at least own the company. He's like, I would normally be like 50.
Right.
Like, I'm definitely not going to 40 because it's so small of a market. But there's a market. It's like, because he thought, which I thought was good. He thought about New York. He goes, if you live in New York, in the city, you gotta go walk your dog around the streets of New York. Well, they're putting their nose and mouth into just, a dead rat. Like, just like the streets of New York. And then they just come right back in your house and like lick your baby. So there, I was like, all right.
Damon made that point.
Yeah.
So he made a better case for this mask.
He made a better case for it than they did. And so it's like, all right. He goes, he didn't say the dead rat and baby. I made it a little more colorful, That's what I would have said.
Uh-huh.
But so they got Shark Tank's great. We watch it. Harper watches it. It's a good show. Like a kid can see. Ask her if she wants to invent something. She doesn't. But so anyway, so we're talking about the soccer. We're good clutch performances.
Yeah. If you guys we've covered our sports background.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't shock you. I don't have any personal clutch performances.
And a clutch performance for someone, it is a last second shot that you make and that you confidently make. I think it's not always luck.
Yeah.
I'm sure you wouldn't, if someone got really lucky, my buddy Jeremy Morrow, or PP, as we called him. Still call him P. He's got 3 kids, married. I still like, P, what's up? We're both 41. He might be 42. He was always older than everybody. But he shot once. We played basketball in high school in PE, and we called it AP Wellness because we were in no AP classes. So we would say we were AP Wellness, and we would play during the game. This coach would just like let us play a full game. He would keep score. And I mean, my buddy Adam Son, who actually played for Belmont and then played overseas, he would always come play. Dude, these were epic games.
Mm-hmm.
We would call timeouts. It's supposed to be a running clock. I mean, it's a class.
Mm-hmm.
The bell rings, you got to go to class, and we're like, timeout, timeout. And we're calling timeouts. They're giving us timeouts. We would always be late to whatever the next class was. This is like our senior year. And then one time we passed it to Jeremy and P. So we give it to P, and then P's like looking to pass it because P wasn't a basketball player, so he's trying to pass it. I'm covered. Everybody's covered. And P just launches it over his head, and it goes in. And then we win. And I mean, this is a win for nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. And we just, I mean, we cheer, we carry him off into the locker room, and when we're late to the next class, we're just missing. It was the greatest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
But that wouldn't be a clutch performance, I don't think. That would
Because
be
it was, you're saying luck.
you threw it over, you're throwing the ball over your head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think that would come into it.
But do you guys ever remember teammates or guys you played against that just somebody's like, that guy just took over the game?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've had a couple when I was super young and it
Oh,
didn't
here we go.
matter and the stakes were not high at all.
Well, you want to share one?
I pitched when I was like 9 or 10. I remember I struck a guy out to win a playoff game in the rain. It was like a scene from a movie almost, and that was kind of the peak of my athletic career. And
So
then it
you're
was just all
pitching.
downhill from there. I was pitching in the rain
In the rain.
and struck out.
They bring you
guy that-
in?
I think I don't know. I don't remember,
Yeah.
but I closed out the game. So I
So
remember
it's
that.
such a clutch performance that you like me reading Molly's book.
Yeah.
You don't remember if you started pitching?
I don't remember if I started the game or not. I remember, but I ended it,
Yeah.
and that's really all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I had one last second shot that when I was 12, and I dribbled down and threw it up in the middle of everybody, and it went in. But I mean, that was a luck. You know, that was like it wasn't a crazy shot. It was a normal shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there was no like, give me the ball. I know what to do. You know,
Yeah.
there was no thinking of that. I had my no hitter, but that all like very luck things. I'm playing 12-year-olds that or 10-year-olds that can't hit.
Yeah. I had that heat check once. Remember? I talked about that where
Oh yeah.
I hit 2 in a row. But the second one, it got helped because a guy tipped it and the coach didn't see it. So he's like,
Yeah,
get the ball to Brian. And then I launched it over the backboard and it went into the concession stand.
yeah, too hot. I mean, the fact that that's so funny to get heat checked.
Yeah.
My 8th grade year, I played basketball, and then like the last game of the season, they were like, "All right, we're gonna let all the kids that don't play that much like start
Yeah,
the game." So I started in 8th grade. I remember we're like, "We're gonna let y'all play, let y'all start for a few minutes," and I inbounded it, and I hit the back of the backboard, inbounding it, and they were like, "All right, we're gonna put the starters back."
what is wrong with me today?
Yeah, what is wrong with me today?
Yeah.
Usually make those.
Yeah,
Were you trying to do an alley oop? How did you hit the back?
I was trying to just pass it. I mean, it was just like a comedy of errors.
Yeah.
Everything went wrong.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, now we know why you didn't start."
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So, what traits lead to high performances in clutch situations? Researchers from Australia and England did a study on high performers performing clutch situations. There's some common traits. They talked about getting in the flow, which we think about kind of like in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
They said more in the flow.
well, the flow. I know it as golf. John Augustine.
Yeah.
Plays at Vandy now. He's a turning pro. But I know he can get on. So he starts getting some birdies. He'll continue to make birdies. And he'll get on a run. And not him. I'm specifically saying him because I've played with him when we talked about it. But Tiger. I mean, look at the last Masters that they just did. Tiger got a 10 on a par 3. A 10. That's unbelievable. And then birdied 5 of the last 6.
Mm-hmm.
So to flip, that is a clutch performance. He flips something to go, this is going to be embarrassing. I mean, if I got a 10 on a hole, my day is done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to bounce back from that. I'm definitely not going to par. I'm not going to do. And he goes and almost gets all of those extra shots back, except for 2.
Brian, if you get 10 on a hole, you're pumped, right?
I am actually.
I've asked him to pick up way before he could ever get to 10. I would be like, "That's good.
Yeah, he
That's
always
good."
tells me triple bogey, just
Yeah.
pick up.
Triple bogey max. If you're a golfer and you're terrible, just do triple bogey, grab your ball, and move on.
Uh-huh.
Unless you're alone or you're playing with someone equally as bad as you. If anybody else is good, get the ball and come on. This is not the time.
They talked about some common characteristics from these people. They're so absorbed in the task, they're not even aware of the crowd. Interesting. They have high levels of confidence, a sense of control over their performance, enhanced motivation to succeed. They enjoy it just enough, but not too much, which is kind of interesting, and being fully alert. Some say things slow down for them, and they even have a hazy memory of the event.
I could
Hmm.
see. That's interesting. I could see that. Like you could be like, "How would you feel?" And you're like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
You know what? I think the highest you can get as an athlete is to whatever you're doing. There's no. You just know to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Me trying to learn to golf. The swing that I'm trying to learn is I'm trying to get to a point where I stop thinking about my swing. That's the difference of besides their natural born gifts and talents of a professional golfer. Someone that's not good is they can't get over a big reason. Now they could just not be good. They're not hitting. There's many other things, but a gigantic thing while you're chunking balls and all this stuff is you're thinking about too much stuff, and you're trying to make everything too perfect. In a weird way, I would imagine a lot of clutch performances. You could probably almost say besides Tigers, where that has to be such a precise thing. But a lot of times it probably wasn't a perfect swing, perfect shot.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff that didn't really. It's because they're fine. It's perfect to them. Like they're not searching for perfect. They're searching for it to get the job done. And whatever they do is, you could probably have a weird shot that how'd the shot feel? They're like, it didn't feel that great when it came out. It wasn't like if I knew it felt so good, perfect. It's like they're like, I don't know, I like rolled off my pinky,
Mm-hmm.
but they're prepared for that to happen.
I think that's excellence at anything is that you just get to a point where you're no longer focused on the mechanics of something. You just
Yes.
get to a point where you can just feel it and kind of like when you're doing stand up, you're no longer thinking about the like rule of threes, all these technical things that you
You
learn
just know.
when you start, right? You just
Yeah.
evolve past that. I watched this interview with
Which
John.
the rules of three, if someone doesn't know, that's
Yeah.
in comedy. Well, they might but the idea is that you always have something happen in threes.
Yeah, if you list something, you always list three. For
The
whatever
first
reason,
two
that's
could be
just
funny, and the last one needs to be the funniest.
yeah.
First two might not be funny, but the last
Right.
one's the funniest.
Third one's different in
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
way. I watched this interview with John Mayer about what he thinks about when he solos.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he just thinks about shapes and colors. He's just thinking about the feel of it because he's so mastered the technical aspects of playing guitar that he no longer needs to think about that. He's just what he's
Yeah.
feeling in the moment. So
Yeah.
I think that's cool. You get that good at something, you're no longer consumed with the mechanics of it.
Your body just does it.
Right.
I mean, that's why they can, with athletes, they can learn something pretty quickly because they're trained to learn how to do it. That's why a lot of them, when they go over to golf, a lot of them are very good because they can figure it out and be like, what do I got to do? They might be terrible. I saw a guy play, this guy played football. And I was like talking to him. I forget his name, but he was with my buddy Toby Mack. If anybody knows Toby, lead singer of DC Talk for a long time. They were huge in the 90s.
Yeah.
And they're still huge now. He still does very big now, but they were, uh, this other guy came up and he was his friend. He played football and he's kind of swinging the club. He's just starting. And the first shots were like just awful. But even in a little time of 15, 20 minutes, he hit a couple that were like pretty good.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, oh, this dude, if he wants to figure it out, he's an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, I just don't. I'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have that mentality.
Just
I'll get
such
it.
control over their bodies too,
Yeah.
in a way that normal people don't have.
Yeah, when you ever see a slow-mo of what they're doing, of how they're torquing their body, or like even like when they go up, you got to think like when Michael Jordan when he does the dunk and he switches. I mean, we always see it in this slow motion. Just try to jump and hold a tennis ball and give it to your other hand. it would be very hard. And his is it's a commercial. It's a
Mhm.
movie. That's what it looks like. It's that like an actor did it, and he did that in
Mhm.
that high level of a. It's. I think they slow they slow everything down. Everything becomes slower to them, so they're seeing it in a slower way, and they can do now. They have the physical abilities to keep himself up that long
Yeah.
and jump that high.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like I just watched. They had the Tyson fight, Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight this weekend. Wasn't that? It was a pretty good fight.
Yep.
It was fun. They had Jake Paul. Nate Robinson was one of the fights. Nate
Mhm.
Robinson's a basketball player. Jake Paul's internet YouTuber guy who called out Conor McGregor.
Yeah, he
After-
wants to fight Conor.
I mean, yeah. But Jake, I mean, if you saw the difference of Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., who are both in their 50s, and Jake Paul, who's 23, who looks like he's. Hey, Holly's having nightmares. I don't know if that picked up. You just heard, woo, woo.
Hmm.
She has nightmares. She has regular nightmares.
Hmm.
Maybe she's got a hole in her chest. She's PTSD from this week.
Right. Yeah.
But they're in their 50s. And when you watch Jake Paul and Nate Robinson fight, it was like Nate Robinson's unbelievably athletic. Star football player, 3-time slam dunk contest, 5'9".
Yeah.
He's got a 44-inch vertical. I mean, his head's touching the rim, and he's 5'9". So extremely athletic. You know, what he was trying to do was like come in quick with these punches. He's never boxed, and that other guy's fought once and trained a bunch and wants to be a fighter. But even Jake, I mean, his swings were so like kind of wild looking.
Mhm.
And when you watched Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, who are the best, but when you see their swings, their punches, it's so tight. Even the ones that they come outside are not as far. Jake's are way out here, and they're there. Like, that's a big difference
Mhm.
of just, if you swung out to like your shoulders is your hook punch. But if you go outside your shoulder, well, that's, how much longer that takes to get there? Just seeing them, how like a professional fighter versus not a professional fighter.
Right.
You're like, it's wild, dude. And how much even Jake Paul, who just trained more than Nate Robinson, it wasn't even a fair fight.
Mhm.
They should have called that fight before they called it.
Mhm.
Nate Robinson got like almost, he was like knocked out like 3 times. And then they should have really caught, like, did you watch the thing?
Yeah.
I just saw the highlights.
Yeah, they should have. I mean, he laid there and it was like, needs to end, dude.
Mhm.
It's not good.
Jake Paul walked out to "We're playing basketball," and
yeah.
when he did that, I was like, "All right, I'm rooting for him."
Yeah.
I love a villain.
He's
You
a
know,
villain, dude.
He is a villain for sure.
He seems about one of the more unlikable people
I
I've
know.
ever seen. And then you're like, well, how unlikable it can be? Well, his brother's Logan Paul. You're like, yikes. You're like, that whole family stinks, dude. Like, I mean,
I was pulling for him, dude. When he walked out to that song, I was like, you gotta love it. You gotta just love the pageantry of this.
Yeah.
Just a villain against
I do love
Yeah.
him calling people out. I love the show. It's someone I texted my neighbor Felix. We text. He goes, I didn't mind it. He goes, I definitely was entertained. And I was like, that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
And that's how some stuff needs to be looked at. Where people go, why? I'm not gonna watch this dumb fight. It's about your entertainment.
Right.
That's all that matters. It's not, yeah, dude, no one's watching this. Is like, I'm trying to be like, I'm learning about boxing.
Yeah.
I want to be entertained. And so the show was entertaining.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg is very funny.
Mhm.
He would like comment.
Yeah.
It was very entertaining. They did a really good job. And the Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, let's get to some of these examples of clutch performances, and we got some sports. Of course, there's a million sports ones, but we got some non-sports ones too. This one's kind of sports, kind of not. George W. Bush throwing out the first pitch at the 2001 World Series.
To me, for people, you know what's crazy? Is that you almost, I'm like, well, we don't have to say what happened in 2001, but you might.
Oh, because some people might not
I mean,
know?
some people are so young that you might have to, so 9/11 just happened, 2001. I mean, John was born in 97, John Augustine.
Yeah.
So, like, most people there's people that listen to this that would, definitely don't you don't remember it, right?
I do remember this.
Yeah.
I followed baseball pretty closely this year. I
What
remember
how
it was
old
the
were you?
Diamondbacks. I was 10
Yeah, okay.
when this
But
happened.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have 9/11 wouldn't have been you remember it, but it was not
Yeah,
experienced
and I
the
was
way.
in Alabama, so I didn't really fully
guys were 4.
appreciate the.
Uh,
No, I didn't understand the national relevance of
Yeah.
this moment, which now is one of my favorite moments. It's maybe one of the best moments ever. And you were talking George Bush, just the pressure of.
There's a great 30 for 30 about
Yeah.
this. I'd recommend anyone go watch.
So, the setup of it is 9/11 happened. I mean, his speech that he gave was unbelievable, that he gave down there.
Yeah, well, that's like 3 days after 9/11, he went down to Ground Zero, and he's down there with all the workers, and he's on the bullhorn, and the guys yelling, "We can't hear you!" And then he says, "I can hear you. The world hears you." And pretty soon, the people who did this will hear us all.
I mean,
What a riff!
I'll
dude.
run through
What a riff.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd run through a building right now, like just this wall. I'll just run through it.
Yeah.
That kind of that those moments are that's an unbelievable moment.
Yeah.
I mean, that speech is a clutch performance. In the fact he doesn't know what he's going to say, dude. No one, there's no way the guy. They're like, all right, you shout.
They
this.
planted him.
Yeah, you don't plan it. That's again what the Vandy football, the woman this weekend. It did happen, but it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that moment. It doesn't, that's where it feels.
Feels the exact opposite of that moment.
Yeah, no. Well, I think she's as important to us as George W. Bush. But like her moment this weekend was, they did need help. It's COVID. We didn't have kickers. But it feels, she gave this speech at halftime. They had a hashtag I Play Like a Girl already set up. It's almost like nowadays, if you do have something that happens kind of naturally, they corporate it so much that it doesn't feel like it.
Right.
And he's just standing on the rubble with a bullhorn. Someone yells that, I can hear that's unreal, dude. So like just to come up with that stuff, I mean the whole world's looking at you for an answer.
Yeah.
This was the most helpless the whole country has ever felt. Is what can we do? And they're looking at this guy, and this guy delivers that message, and then that almost, I mean, dude, 300 million people don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. People are blown away that this could even happen in America.
Yeah.
And then him to say that is nuts. Is unreal, dude. Unreal. His approval rating at that point was like 99 or something so high. Just in that moment.
Yeah.
Because you're like, dude, this is, I mean, it's the most unified we've ever been as a country. It was the most amazing thing ever. For him to do that, and then he goes to New York, and they postpone the playoffs, and he goes and throws out the first pitch. The pressure on this first pitch, there's not a Super Bowl, there's not any sports, there's not a World Series, there's nothing that's as important as this first pitch. There's nothing.
Right.
He said it was the most nervous he was ever during his entire 8 years as president.
I mean, there's nothing, dude. I mean, there ain't a Notre Dame player that knows what that feels like.
Right.
There's no sports or sports. No one cares. In the grand scheme of things, who cares? It's a game. This pitch, I mean, that's what's so crazy, dude. This pitch is the biggest, most clutch over Jordan's sick game. All the Jordan shots. It's unbelievable that a pitch that doesn't count is the most important possible sports moment in the history of all of sports.
Right. Well, the country wasn't looking to Michael Jordan and going, tell me I'm safe. Tell me and my family that we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And
it's in that moment.
He had all of this on his shoulders.
And if someone doesn't remember it, I mean, I don't know if they're young, they might think that seems I'm being over. Like, that's kind of crazy to think. Like, but this at that moment, dude, it happened in New York. It happened.
Yeah, let me give a couple more details for people who might not know.
Yeah.
So, as he said, the playoffs, the baseball season obviously was put on hold when 9/11 happened, and then everything got backed up. So now it's the World Series, the Yankees versus the Diamondbacks. His Secret Service security wanted him to do it in Arizona.
Yeah.
Because it'd just be safer. He wanted to do it in New York because of what happened in 9/11. They finally agreed to it. They're like, "You gotta wear a bulletproof vest," which makes it a lot harder to throw a baseball.
Right.
He went down to the, bullpen to warm up beforehand, and Derek Jeter came down and said, "Don't bounce it or you'll get booed," which a lot of people do. And then he said, most guys who throw out the first pitch, they don't stand on the mound. They stand much closer and throw it. He's like, "If you throw it through the mound, it'll be even better." He went out, stood on the mound, which nobody ever does, and threw a perfect strike.
A perfect strike. Play it.
Yeah. Wait, the crowd's going nuts. I don't know if I want to play the audio
Yeah.
because MLB is notorious about that. But
Yeah.
boom, perfect strike,
Perfect
right
strike.
down the middle.
Yeah.
Pretty special moment.
And we'll post this.
Yeah, we're posting it in the on social media. Yeah, it's like, dude, if he bounces that, I mean, look, in the grand scheme of things, it's not like the world's gonna be different if he bounces
Right.
it.
Yeah.
In the nothing's gonna be different. And when you really think about it, nothing can happen. It's a non-baseball guy throwing. He played baseball, I think, or something.
Yeah.
But not an athlete. Got a lot of stuff on his mind.
Yeah,
no one's gonna-
fair
yeah.
to say.
Yeah.
He's got some busy days. Yeah.
And so nothing's. But the idea that he did that is remarkable. It's remarkable to throw that strike from back there.
Mhm.
The whole world's watching. The whole world.
Hmm.
This isn't a regular game. I mean, it's the first game back. World Series game. Not even playoffs, right? World Series.
It's World Series.
World
Which Arizona
Series, yeah.
won, actually.
Yep, they did in
The
7.
Yankees couldn't even step up to it. How much better would the story be if the Yankees would have won?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
How
think a
mu-
lot of people were rooting for that year.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Just
Oh,
what a
yeah.
story it would have been.
And you
Yeah.
don't do it.
Uh-huh.
And Arizona wins.
Yeah.
And and then everybody's like, it's good. I mean, feel bad for Arizona now because no one cares. I mean, now everybody's moved on. We got a ring.
Right.
You say you won in 2001, everybody'd be like, no one's going to think about it that way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But in that moment, dude, I just don't know who's been under that pressure because he's not pitching. He's not. I mean, he obviously can throw a ball, but he's not pitching. But he's at least an athlete enough that
Now, if Sarah Fuller would have had to kick a game potentially game-winning field goal
yeah,
this past weekend, do you think that there would have been
it's
there would have
not
been a lot, not obviously
Yeah.
different level than this, but there
Yeah.
would have been a
Huge
lot of
story.
external pressure.
it would have been
like that
huge.
too.
It would
Yeah.
have been enormous if she had to go out there and to win that game. That would have been unbelievable.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
That's the thing that we were never putting her in a situation to thrive. I mean, she was.
I told Nate they'd make a movie about it. He's like, yeah, a 1-9 football team.
Yeah.
They make a movie about.
What movie? Oh, you get done watching the movie. You're like, how did that team? You go look up. How did they end up?
Uh-huh.
Coach got fired immediately right after. Oh, really?
The next day, right?
I mean, I think that day. I think that
Yeah.
night he got fired, and the Ken News came out that day. The next
Wow.
day. So I mean, yeah, they're not gonna. They're not. It would be a movie needs to be focused on her,
Uh-huh.
and maybe you should just make it about the SEC, the women's soccer team that actually was really good. I think this is my most clutch. Obviously is this Bush. I always think about it. I've watched it. I'll go back and watch it every now and again.
Mhm.
It's just such a good pitch. I mean, just the amount of pressure that you're under is unreal, dude.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
What's another one? That's,
All right, let's do a non-sports one at all. Miracle on the Hudson, Sully Sullenberger. You were living in New York when this happened,
I was
right?
living in New York when this happened.
Did you see it?
No, I was at home. I don't remember. Laura was probably working in the city then. I don't think she could have seen it. I remember it coming on the news, and I remember then watching the news and it happening. But and then we watched it, and I called Laura, and Laura was working. But Laura couldn't see. I don't think she could see the Hudson River from her building. But him landing that plane, I mean, yeah, like that's the thing. Is like clutch. Is like
Yeah.
these clutch performances. Everybody's gonna think that's sports. It's like it's just that's life or death. These are all more important than sports.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, people are gonna die, and he's got to land this plane
Mhm.
and then just seize the river.
And his idea of doing that, they said
Yeah.
most pilots wouldn't have thought of it. They would try to get back. He wouldn't have made it. He would have killed all those people and
Yeah.
people on the ground.
Yeah,
And for him to land it in the river and no one to die was a true miracle.
I think Joe List, very funny comedian. I think he has an album out. right now, just came out. Uh, he did, Joe, met a girl, like, he was at a bar near there. Didn't see it, but later that night, maybe he was at a bar and started talking to a server, or not a server, but a girl sitting next to the bar, and he's like, "Oh, what's up?" She starts talking to her. He goes, "What are you doing?" She said, She was on the plane."
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
wow.
And he's like, "Oh, really? Like, why?" Maybe it wasn't that day. Maybe it was later.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember. But yeah, he's like met one of the people on it.
I went to a guy spoke at an event, and he was on the plane, and it's getting from there to safety in the freezing water was the biggest thing because, I mean, you could die so quickly in that cold of
Yeah.
water.
Yeah,
Did
And
anybody die on the plane, or did everybody survive?
no, everybody survived.
got all their bags
Wow.
back.
Pretty amazing.
Made their connection.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, on time,
Yeah.
too.
That's how good he was.
That's how. Yeah,
That's a truly,
So
great thing.
the pressure and the adrenaline of those situations
Yeah.
just seem to bring greatness out of people, you know?
I
Yeah.
mean that's where the 10,000 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's there. There's a book about that, and I've read that book. I read some of it, not all of it.
Yeah.
But they talk about that with the Beatles. The Beatles played their 10,000 hours was they played at like a restaurant or bar fair. It was something. They just were in the back. No one listened to them. No one cared, and but that's where they played over and over and over again. That's where they got so good.
Mhm.
Where that's always interesting to see. I would be curious if any listeners have you seen anybody perform that became huge, but you saw them at a nut like when they were nothing.
Oh, yeah. That's
I've had people I've talked to that uh, a guy Ed that is I've met his family and I think they saw who did he say he saw? Maybe Kevin James or maybe even
Mhm.
Seinfeld, but maybe Kevin James at a club. No one knows him,
Mhm.
and then then it becomes this huge person.
I bet most of those guys, they have something where people recognize, "Oh, this guy's got, like, an X factor,
Yeah,
too,
I would be
a
interested to see
star
like do they
factor."
think like I could tell
But that Malcolm Gladwell book, that's what you're talking about, right?
maybe.
The 10,000 hours, it just talks about the repetition and
Yeah.
gotta put your time in.
Yeah, you put your time in. You do it over and over again. That's what I was thinking with comedy. That's why New York is. I think the best comics come out of New York.
Yeah.
We're doing comedy every single
Well,
night.
your peers that you started with or knew before they blew up, could you predict or tell who was gonna reach that next level?
I don't know if you're thinking about it as much when you're in it.
Yeah.
So when you see people that you're like, this is different. So I see someone. I mean, maybe when I saw Burr, and that's why I kind of followed Burr around or like kind of watched him closer, is I could tell this guy is something different.
Yeah.
He's really, really good.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't know how much you're thinking about that
Right.
as if you're in it. You're trying to be one of them. So I don't know if you're always like you can tell you kind of just go to the guys that are good
Yeah.
and you're trying to learn from those guys.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, that's why those guys in New York. I mean that's why I think anybody that starts is in New York. I don't think no one can.
Just imagining seeing like Kevin Hart very early on, and you're like, "Oh, this guy." There's like a star factor
Yeah, that they
kinda
had
in there.
I do think there's like, do they have it? Do they have they always people talk about it. Do you have it? Whatever it is, do you have it? Do
I said that about you. I mean, I didn't know you when first time I saw you perform at Zany's,
Yeah.
and I was blown away first time I saw you because you were just so good. I mean, this was, I don't know, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't think you'd done any late nights yet.
Yeah.
Maybe that CMT thing, but you were so funny. The type of material you were doing was just so different than anything I'd seen in Nashville. And, I didn't know who you were. And that's always a great thing when you see somebody you've never even heard of this person. You're like, who
Yeah.
is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of the greatest average American that's ever lived. So obviously you would feel that. No. Yeah. Well, when I went to Burr's and Patrice's thing was that
Yeah.
I could feel the audience just be like, who was that? Like
Yeah.
just be
Uh-huh.
when Burr performed and they go, is HBO One Night Stand? You can go watch that. And he's doing a half hour and you could feel the audience just go like, what? What was that? Who's that guy? Like, I mean, they just took him, they're having to talk to everybody, like, that was something, right? Like, you're a part of a moment, you know? That'd almost be like, has anybody been a part of a moment? Has any listener have you ever been a part of something big? Like, if you're on that plane or if you were you at a game and you're like, "I saw this."
I was at the BC City Miracle.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the biggest plays in NFL history.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were at that game?
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Remember I was telling him to get out of bounds?
yeah, yeah. He yelled at yeah.
I was like, "Get out of bounds, get out of bounds."
Uh, my brother-in-law, Joey, he left. A lot of people left.
Mhm.
And he was on the bridge walking back and just heard the roar. All the people that missed it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's gonna be big, don't you think? Because it's big because we won a playoff game and we went on.
Oh, I mean, I knew as soon as it happened it was gonna be big.
Yeah.
You're talking about something you didn't know at the time?
Yeah, I mean, I guess could there be something that, Laura, did Laura text you about the 9 Inch Nail thing? Like, so 9 Inch Nails, when they performed, I think it might have been Woodstock where they had all the mud on them. You know that?
Uh-uh.
I think it was pouring down rain.
Oh, that was Woodstock 94 with all the mud, I think.
Yeah. Type in 9 Inch Nails. But that's a iconic. We went to didn't they have the guitar in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something? Or they had their outfit that they were wearing. And so they performed and it was so muddy. And they just got so, they could have not performed. It was too muddy. It was raining. It was.
That looks like he was trying.
So many things. I don't think they were though. I don't think it was
It was a big problem at Woodstock 94.
The mud. Yeah.
Right.
Where it was ruining performances.
Yeah.
How were you getting all over your head though?
And I think he then slid. I think they pushed each other in the mud before they went,
Oh,
It was just you know what? We're going to just accept that this is happening.
Yeah.
And then go with it. And then they performed. Because I was trying to talk to her about any of those performances that are not sports related.
Here's a good one, kind of along those lines. Scott Halpin, in 1973, The Who was doing a concert in Cow Palace in San Francisco. Their drummer, Keith Moon, passed out on stage from some serious drug overdose. They took him off stage, revived him, brought him back out. He kept playing. Then he passed out again. They drug him off again. This time they realized he wasn't coming out. So Pete Townsend asked the crowd, "Can anybody play the drums?" He repeated the question, asking forcefully, "I mean, somebody good." At this time, this 19-year-old kid, Scott Halpin, who was up front, his buddy said he can play. They brought him up on stage, and he finished out the Who concert playing the drums.
Awesome.
And he did good.
I think
guess
he did
so.
okay. Yeah.
Well, Keith Moon is one of the best ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just
That's crazy.
Right place, right time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But that is a clutch performance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that's interesting to be, because I would imagine a lot of clutch performance, you don't know you're getting in them.
Yeah.
It's not like they're happening.
Mhm.
And then that guy just got pulled up. That's wild, dude. I was at the movie, the Wahlberg movie, where he's a rock singer with Jennifer Aniston. The rock, not the rock.
I never saw that. I know what you're talking
It's
about.
great, dude. And he gets on they pull him out of the crowd,
Really?
and he was singing in a cover band. That's like Journey. I mean, Journey's the guy that sings for Journey now. He was in a cover band in Thailand,
Yeah, and he was Asian.
and then and now sings for Journey.
Mhm. And kills it. By the way.
Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg, Jennifer.
I'd never heard of that movie.
Oh, I love it. It's a
Yeah.
great movie. It's one I'll watch if it's on. I feel like someone's going to be like, that movie stinks. And
I thought I heard it stunk.
And I mean, it's one of my favorite
It's
movies.
a good cast. I mean, Mark Wahlberg, Jennifer Aniston.
He read the book.
Yeah.
I read the novelization of Rockstar.
Yeah. It's weirdly about Mark Wahlberg.
Nate wrote it.
I think the book would be based on a true story. The movie's based on the book, which is about Mark Wahlberg and Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
What if they did a movie together?
Yeah. Mohammed Gassama, Somalian. I don't know if that's
Would he turn around?
I don't even know if he would turn around.
Yeah, he'd keep walking.
He probably would. He's from Mali, but he was living in France in 2018. He climbed 4 stories in 30 seconds to save a 4-year-old boy who was hanging from a balcony. Did I send you this video?
Was it the former high school player?
Nope,
Oh,
not that.
This is the other one you sent me.
Yeah, I didn't.
But
well, anyway, it's pretty crazy. This guy's just scaling. There it is, right there,
So
scaling.
a 4-year-old boy's hanging.
Yeah, look at that kid hanging there.
Yeah.
And then this guy just leaps into action and just quickly.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's
And
not.
he just climbs up if you're just listening. I mean, it's 4 stories and he's jumping from balcony to balcony. And there's someone at the top.
Yeah, that guy can't quite reach him because there's a partition separating the two balconies.
Oh,
Yeah.
That guy gets up there as everyone watches.
just like Prince of Persia, man.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's an old video game where they
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. He just leaped to action.
He's not. Where was this at?
This was in
France.
France.
Yeah. And then they got him. What's crazy is there's a family next to him that you're like, yeah, why don't you get him? What if they would have grabbed him right before he did it? That would be like how much the moment would have been ruined if like because the baby's trying to come over. I mean, 4 years old, dude.
Yeah.
I just think about Harper's 8.
Yeah.
I mean, when she was 4, could she hang?
the grip strength on that kid.
The kid's got a clutch
Yeah.
moment.
amazing.
That's 2 clutch
It's
moments.
clutch.
You know how clutch that is for a 4-year-old?
And the kid gets no credit for that either, man. But we're gonna give him some.
The kid.
Hanging on for
Yeah.
that long.
And go ahead and show that other one, Aaron, because they're
Yeah.
similar as far as just people coming to the rescue. This guy's
Yeah.
a former football player. This happened just a few months ago. And they're like,
There's a fire at the top.
and they're like, throw your baby down.
Yeah.
He runs in and catches the kid. And
To be honest, it doesn't look like he caught the kid
Yeah.
from the video, but clearly he did.
they said he
Well, I
did.
think they were trying to throw it to another guy.
Yeah, he kind of intercepted that guy.
Yeah, they were trying to throw I don't know where the baby came from.
The mother threw it out the window, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which is oh, bless her.
There's a
And
few-
then yeah, it's they're yeah, that could have been orchestrated better. They there's another kid, there's another guy standing there that's like
I
throwing the
know.
baby that clearly doesn't look like he's prepared to catch this baby. And then she just, I mean, in that heat of the moment, that guy has to run in and he barely gets the baby.
the literal heat of the moment.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't like, give me a second, throw the baby 1 second.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was like, throw the baby. She threw the baby. So that guy, the fact that he came in is unbelievable.
Mhm.
There's a few cases, and I have other ones here. There's a subway rescue guy in New York, saved a guy who had a seizure, fell in the subway.
Yeah.
He got underneath, and he was on Letterman. James Shaw's the local guy, Waffle House.
Yeah.
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 Saved everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
some people died, but he saved a lot of lives. So then I was reading about this thing called the Bystander Effect. You guys heard about
Mm-mm.
No.
this? It's pretty interesting. It's how people will be less likely to rise to the occasion if there's a group of people around because no one will take charge.
Yeah.
And they did this study, and they put a bunch of students or people in a room to fill out a questionnaire, and they planted a bunch of seeds, people who knew what was going on, and then they piped smoke into the room, and the people who knew what was going on just remained calm. And if a person was in a room by themselves and they saw smoke, 75% got up and ran for help. But if there were other people in the room and they looked around and everyone was calm, only 10% left the room to go get help.
Mm.
And they have a bunch of situations like that where people just won't help out because they're either not sure if it's a real emergency or not, like, or they don't want to they don't want to take the responsibility of doing it. And someone said they were having a seizure, and if they were the only person who heard it, 85% sought help. But if other people they knew heard it, only 31% would jump in and help.
Interesting. I wouldn't want to be the guy freaking out, and it's actually not that big of a deal. That's embarrassing.
That's what everyone's afraid
you
of.
know?
That's what everybody's afraid of, it being like, man, you really went crazy. Everybody's afraid of one other guy going up going, dude, you look like a maniac
Yeah,
every
you
time.
look
And
a-
you go,
Yeah,
I thought it was
relax, dude.
happening. You're like, you think you're going to be the one that gets to see this crazy moment?
Uh-huh.
Because you don't think you're ever going to be. That's when they always go back to think about, I mean, they talk about like school shooters.
Yeah.
And so they always go to, how does the family not see this coming? Because you can't imagine your kid is the one
Right.
Yeah.
that would do this horrible thing. So even if there's signs, Jeffrey Dahmer, they interviewed his dad. I think him and his dad. I think it was like a fun interview. It was
But he was a good dude.
Yeah. You're like, I mean, obviously, let's not talk about the obvious.
Right.
Wonderful
Made some
guy.
mistakes.
Wonderful guy.
Honestly, yeah, real charming.
They talked to the dad, and he was like, "Did he do anything?" They're like, "I mean, he used to kill cats and stuff." And the dad's like, "It's the '60s. I don't know. Kids were killing cats.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just like a rough dad that it wasn't like he lived in this nice neighborhood and and he's the only kid killing cats. I think he was in a rougher neighborhood, and then it was like kids were being crazy.
Yeah.
And so when you go back and look and point this stuff out, you're like, yeah, dude, that's straight up what happened. But people get mad at these parents, and you're like, why would they ever imagine? No one could ever imagine it.
Right.
You could never imagine it.
Flip side of that, the BTK killer in Kansas City, I think they found out he'd been killing people for decades, and there's this big interview with his daughter, and they're like, "Were there any signs that your dad was this, great dad by day, and then by night this sociopath?" And she was like, "I mean, he got mad at dinner a few times, but that's parents get mad.
Right.
We're not supposed to. You're not thinking, oh, my dad might be a serial killer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What was the flip side of that?
You were talking about it from the parent's perspective, the kid. It's
okay.
The kid to the parents.
Yeah.
Well, like
I thought flip side you were gonna say. I thought flip side would have been that the kid goes, yeah, he killed my mom.
That's true. That would have been the flip side.
Is that not the flip side?
I didn't frame it right, but yeah, you're right. That would have been the
So
flip
you should
side.
say another example. Of
Another example of something similar. Yeah.
would have been
Yeah.
the flip side of that. Here's the same thing that
flip
you
side
said.
sounds better though.
Flip side of that, Aaron. Same thing. Kid.
I've got a much lower stakes example of coming through in the clutch.
Let's see it.
You ever play the original Street Fighter game? This is one of my favorite YouTube videos. This is a championship match at a Street Fighter tournament.
Yeah.
And there's a guy just getting destroyed to the point where he has no health and he's one hit away from being killed.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. It's at a big conference. Lots of people are cheering. Blocks a move. Place goes nuts. And then turns around and kills the other person.
Oh my God.
It's just an unbelievable performance.
Yeah.
Ken wins.
From this guy.
Wow.
The guy was just getting destroyed the whole match. And then at the last second.
Over.
That's fun.
Yeah. That's a fun. Yeah. Yeah. Those moments are fun where the video, these kids, I mean, now that's a real, it's a sport.
Right. That's before Twitch. So you had to go to these conferences and watch people play live.
Yeah. What's some here's sport ones, or you have?
Well, let me give you one more fun one. That's kind of sports, kind of like George W. Bush. Whitney Houston's singing of the Star Spangled Banner at the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it's the greatest performance of it, people say, ever. She did it. Aaron, you're gonna have to help me here. I don't know music. The Star Spangled Banner is written in 3/4 time, and she did it in 4/4 time.
4/4.
What does that mean?
That means there's 4 beats to every measure. So a 4/4 time is that's how most pop songs and songs are going to be written that way.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So that's 4/4. 4 beats for every measure. 3/4 would be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That'd be a 3/4.
So it's harder to do in the 4?
No, it's just a little bit different arrangement
of this traditional song.
Right.
This is 10 days after the Gulf War started.
Yeah.
The Goodyear blimp had been taken down. There was jets flying all over the Super Bowl. Some people thought they shouldn't even play the Super Bowl. And then she went out there. She thought it was going to be warmer, so she brought a dress. It was cold, so she had to wear a tracksuit and Nikes and went out there and just nailed it.
It's like the situation made it. Like her wearing that is better than a dress.
Yeah. The best rendition of the national anthem, in my opinion.
Ever.
Also, just the context of America being at war and the old clip, shots of the crowd and everybody's got American flags. It was like the context is awesome too.
Yeah. That is an unbelievable.
Yeah. It's great.
Clutch.
Hold
on before we go. There was something I was to say. All right, go ahead. God, what was it? What are you talking about? 3, 4?
3, 4, 4 time.
I don't know, man. It was it made me think of the 4-minute mile. And someone said which hopefully it wasn't this podcast where we talked about it, but someone breaking the 4-minute mile, like it's impossible to do. And then once someone broke the 4-minute mile, the next week someone broke.
Yep.
Right.
Like it's almost like you just need
it's a mental thing.
He goes, oh, it can be done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you just know it's like, oh, and then it just keeps going.
Yeah.
You know, when does it stop? Minute Mile.
Minute Mile is pretty quick, man.
Sure about that?
I mean, yeah.
That's what they said about the 4-minute, Aaron.
That's true. They did say that about the 4-minute, but
And when Nate does it,
there
you're gonna feel
obviously
stupid.
is a point to where we can no longer get any faster.
Yeah.
It's just,
Well, with that kind of attitude, yeah.
yeah, I guess you're right, dude.
Yeah. What's some good sports ones?
Christian Laettner, the shot against Kentucky NCAA tournament. Many people think it's the greatest game ever. He
wasn't the championship game.
No, it wasn't the championship game, but sent him to the Final Four. He was 10 for 10 from the field and 10 for 10 from the free throw line. He never missed a shot the whole game. He scored the last 8 points in overtime to win that game. So that's a good example of just taking over.
Yeah.
Do you remember that
Dominance.
game?
Yep. What year was it?
92.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember watching it.
Yeah.
Not like greatly, but
Carrie Strug at the U.S. Olympics, 96 Olympics, gymnast. And do you remember this? She injured herself.
Yeah.
And then, but she had to make one more land for the U.S. Gymnastics team to get the gold. And she landed and then immediately hit the ground as soon as she did it. And they had to carry her off.
Wow.
Collapsed.
I've seen that clip before.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can't land on her feet. The opposite of that is the flip side of that is what's his favorite? The Celtics, which is
Gordon Hayward?
No, Paul Pierce when he got carried out.
Yeah.
There's a big debate about that. And then he came back in. He played in a playoff game, and they had to carry him to the back because he got hurt. And then he runs back in and plays and dominates. But there's big debate that no one thinks he was hurt.
Yeah.
That's like the bloody sock game too.
Yeah.
Flip side of the Celtic thing. By the way, these are no flip sides. By the way, it's just the same scenario. I don't know what a flip side would be. Flip side would be the argument. Flip side of that would be, I think everybody else is lying and Paul Pierce is telling the truth.
Right.
Wouldn't that be the flip side?
Yeah.
I'm lost.
Yeah.
Keep going.
No, someone, Mr. Smart, the secret genius over here, apparently didn't learn about flip sides. Here's the flip side is I'm correct and you're wrong. That would be the flip side
That's
of
the
this.
flip side for sure.
But the bloody sock, where what's his face pitching?
Yeah,
Kurt Schilling.
Kurt Schilling and the side. People don't believe that sock.
They think he did it.
Well, obviously, when you got something like this, there's gonna be a lot of conspiracies about it. But they don't think it was his foot was as bad. But I mean, the blood was coming through the sock. They're just showing it on TV. You're like, he's bleeding. I remember watching that. I mean, I think the sock's in the Smithsonian or something.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it's
or the Baseball Hall of Fame or something.
Yeah. I mean, the crazy performance.
Yeah,
them to come back and win that year was they were down 3-0.
Is that the same year?
I don't know. Could be.
Yeah.
Should be. Should have been.
ESPN removed it from their 30 for 30.
Why?
When they fired Kurt Schilling. ESPN.
Oh.
They took the whole bloody sock storyline out of the 30 for 30 about the Red Sox.
Really?
Retroactively went in and removed the bloody sock storyline, which is a huge part of that whole.
That's the only part of it.
Yeah, well, it was about the Red Sox breaking the curse and everything else.
The bloody sock is important as breaking the curse.
Yeah, I'd say it's a major part of it.
We just watched the movie Fever Pitch.
Yeah.
It's a great movie it's a good romantic comedy to watch with your wife. And if you're a sports fan, you get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Jimmy Fallon?
Yep.
When they break the curse. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Never seen it. I know I have to. But.
There's a clutch comment right there. Come in.
Yeah. John Elway's 98-yard drive in the AFC Championship game.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
No, I'm saying I remember that.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I remember watching
in 1987
clips of it. No,
do they say what the most clutch performance ever?
It's called The Drive, right?
Yep, it is The Drive. I saw some rankings. Some people put Kirk Gibson's home run in the World Series.
Yep, I remember that was one of the first sporting events I remember watching.
Yeah,
because I just remember him doing his,
Yeah, the fist pump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiger's got to have.
Yeah, that shot on 15.
Yeah.
In the Masters.
That's my favorite shots in golf at the Masters. Where he chips it up and it rolls, and then the Nike symbol. I mean, it's like these I guess it's iconic moments. Now with golf, he I I trying to remember what was he needed to make that chip, but it's like that's one the whole day is clutch. That one shot didn't
Mhm.
come through. But that's why I think golf is so crazy. The clutchness that you have to have is a long day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to sit there. I mean, if you'd watched, a perfect scenario was last year when Tiger won in 2019. Uh, so it's in 2019 they he when he won that, everybody before him hit the ball in the water on 13. Everybody before that. It's a hard hole to read. It's either 8 or 9 iron for these guys. And the way the wind kind of swirls, it can feel one way but then become another way.
Yeah.
And so I mean, this is the whole Tiger got a 10 on this year.
Yeah.
It's because he went in the water. Augustine went in the water. A lot of guys go in the water.
Yeah.
So he goes in the water. He does all this stuff. And so for that day, Tiger's not leading in last year or 2019 for the Masters. It's his big comeback story. He's not leading. He's in the these other guys all have the lead. They all go in the water. This one group, I mean, I think every one of them went in the water. 3 of them, all in the water. And Tiger sees that. Because on 12, the hole before it, you can see them teeing off. And he sees them all go in the water. And he said, if Brooks Koepka was one that went in the water. He goes, I knew he probably hit a 9 iron and he didn't get it there. So it's going to be an 8. And then what Tiger knew was to go left of the sand trap and don't even try to go at that flag. They were going at this flag. And he did that and then won the Masters. And so it's like the clutchness of, I guess it's like clutching is relying on it. Are comedians?
What would you say about like Freddie Prinze, who went on the Tonight Show, first time ever, 1974. 9 months later, he had his own hit sitcom because of that performance.
I mean, the performance has got to go good.
Yeah.
So, as a comedian, think when all the shows that you do, I mean, technically, when you go do late night, they all have to go good.
Yeah.
It's got to go that good to. You just got to be that different and unique. I don't, I mean, that's what I do wonder if, like, do we have is there something in us? Because there's got to be some
Yeah.
kind of gene, it's either what has to happen, like we said, is you have to not think about what's happening, basically.
Mhm.
So that's why sometimes, like that guy climbing up that building, is if you ask that guy to climb up that building, I mean, he probably could, he obviously could, but if you asked him to climb it with no circumstances, he would probably be super nervous to do it. But he's not even he's just thinking, I got to get to that kid.
Mhm.
And so I think it's like you got to have those moments where, I feel in comedy you could have.
I think when you were getting ready for your special, I remember you were couldn't figure out how you wanted to word this one particular joke. And I remember you just thinking, I think you said, I'll figure it out in the moment. The
Yeah.
pressure of taping a special and everything else, it'll bring out what I want to say.
Yeah.
So that's
it
that's
did
an
not.
element of it.
Sadly,
Oh,
enough,
really?
backfired. We cut the joke. No.
Okay.
I think I
hadn't
got
heard
it
that.
figured out.
My favorite example of a comedian is Dane Cook improving half of his Madison Square Garden special. Have you ever heard him talk about that?
No.
Where he hadn't done comedy 3 months leading up to it, and he had Madison Square Garden booked. He was taping a movie, and then they're like, "You're going to do the show?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can't cancel." So he just walked out, taped a special. He said 50% of it is just riffing because he had no material.
Yeah.
And just hearing about that makes me
Yeah.
nauseous.
I don't know how much I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't like. I would think.
But he did crowd work, right?
he did it's some, but you're at Madison Square Garden in
Yeah.
the round. You can't
Well,
do
you're
a ton
putting.
of crowd.
I could see like there's stuff that happens. This new special, we have stuff happen, and that is probably going to be in there. But I could see with him.
I went back and watched it, and if you watch it thinking, "Oh, he's super trying to stretch,"
Yeah.
Mhm.
then you can pick up on some because 21,000 people. I got to do an hour. I only have
To do the special.
Yeah, I hadn't done
Yeah.
comedy in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty wild.
Why did he not do comedy for 3 months?
He was
before his
taping a
special?
movie, he said, and he just
My moment would have been with this special when after this first night we taped it because it was outside. I did 44 minutes. The second show, I have to do an hour. and the first show was 44. Because usually when you get done taping that first show, you go, we got it. Tennessee Kid was like, we got it, relax,
Mm-hmm.
go have fun. Maybe that's when you can add libs and stuff because you're like, we got it.
Mhm.
And this one was, we don't. Hey, we don't have it. I mean, this is the first thing I ever did where they go, we don't. You're unbelievably short. You know, I mean, it's got to be at least 57 to 60 minutes. And we're 13 minutes short,
Yeah.
which is a lot.
It's a fourth of the show.
Yeah.
Even the Tennessee Kid, I've told you before. I mean, there's so much pressure on you. You've got so much friends and family backstage,
Yeah.
and everyone's asking for stuff. And just, I mean, I didn't mean that, but
Maybe,
there's just a
yeah.
lot of things people are
They
pulling
did
on
pretty
you.
good. Well, the good that Laura does very good about
Yeah.
kind of keeping, but no one bothers me. But it's because it's not that anybody's asking for stuff. It's that you want to go talk to everybody.
Right.
And so you're kind of going over there and then you got to go back and you always feel bad if you're like, I got to walk away. But you just, now, like my family goes, they know. And you're like, I'm going to just walk away. And Laura is really good to be, if I walked away, no one would ever think it's rude. I mean, she would be like, no, it's, there's stuff like that I do think sometimes you can have too much going on because you won't take your show as serious because you think, I've done comedy
Mhm.
thousands of times. So I can go up and talk and do these shows. And so I won't take it as serious. And I've actually thought about that recently, and I'm going to try to, starting this year, to get a better routine. So when I'm doing these theaters, to mentally be more into what's happening, like to have have a time where my phone goes away, everything goes away. There's no contact to me because I want to be more in the show that I'm doing. And which will be this next tour is my plan is to do something that builds some kind of routine up because I can get too loose and you're like, I was talking to people, I'm on the phone, I got to go on stage. I used to play, I mean, I've had videos, I'd be playing a video game and just
Mhm.
walk on stage.
Mhm.
Because there's something about it, you're like, that's fun to do. And it's like, I can do that.
Mhm.
I always think it's fun to be sitting, I'm alone playing a video game. And now I'm in front of 2,000 people.
Mhm.
And like that, and that's within a matter of 8 seconds.
Mhm.
So I always like that idea of doing that. But I think it hurts because I don't think you're, because as comics, you feel stupid. That same thing that we talked about, you feel someone's like, why'd you act so crazy, man? Comics had that too. If you're like, I'm going to take this serious, you just picture,
Mhm.
I picture Bobby Kelly, all these New York comics being, wait, you're a dumb comic.
Yeah.
You tell your dumb jokes. Get up there and go tell your stupid jokes. You be funny. But you got to be acting, you got to go prepare like you're
Mhm.
doing Shakespeare up there.
Yeah.
Like you have that going on in your head. So you end up never doing
But that
stuff.
attitude's important too, to have a little
That
bit
attitude's
of that,
important.
right?
You gotta have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Can't be taking yourself as serious.
Right.
That's why no comics really call themselves artists. But I mean, it is an art. What we're doing, making people laugh, is technically the hardest thing to do. To
Mhm.
move someone's not that hard.
Yeah.
I can tell you a sad story. I can make you cry. But to make someone laugh, it's hard to make someone laugh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They don't just voluntarily laugh. You got to really. It's a bunch of strangers.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you do have to figure something out, But I think when you're in it, it's just different. All right, is there?
We'll do one more, just
Yeah.
to end it on a fun one. Dave
I
Johnson.
thought they've all been fun, but all right.
Well,
He goes, give him a downer.
yeah. I mean, they've been inspirational, I guess. But some of the hero
Just gave a
and
big inspiration speech about how everybody should get it together. No, I mean, I've won another one. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's very funny. Like, all right, you want to let's do
All
one
right,
that's
let's do
not a
something
nightmare.
good real
Yeah.
quick. Yeah.
Dave Johnson sinking a putt at the 2016 Ryder Cup.
Oh, this is fun.
So during a Thursday practice round, he was heckling Roy McIlroy. And
All right, so you got it. Dave Johnson's not a golfer. He's a
yeah.
guy in the audience.
I was about to
Oh.
tell that.
Well, the way you set it up is like Dave Johnson's sinking and putt at the Ryder Cup. I was thinking, this is a golfer. Dave Johnson's a perfect golf name.
Yeah.
Dave Johnson
good
sounds like
golf
a guy that you'd be like, yeah, I remember that guy.
But-
He's got one major. You're like, hey, he won the PGA Championship one year when they got because people went to war. So people didn't. You're like, yeah, he's been dining off that check for a while. You know what I mean?
Well, he's a fan from North Dakota. He was at the practice round. He was heckling Roy McIlroy and Andy Sullivan that he could hold a tricky putt that had baffled them. Henrik Stenson so wanted to see this guy try it that he invited him to come underneath the ropes, and then Justin Rose placed a $100 bill next to the ball for this 12-foot shot.
It's a 12-foot putt, probably downhill.
He's wearing
slider,
jeans.
wearing jeans. Looks like he has borderline Crocs on.
Yep.
Huge crowd watching.
Huge. I mean,
Huge
it's maybe 10,000 people. I don't know.
And he's lining up the shot.
A lot of people. Lines up the putt. Everybody gets quiet. 12 feet. I mean, he's got the full pressure of everybody on it.
Oh, yeah.
Swings for the putt.
Nails
Drills it.
Does
Drills
the Tiger
it.
Woods
Yeah.
fist pump.
Yeah.
That's got to feel awesome.
That's got to feel awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Rory in front of everybody.
Yeah.
If you miss it, the moment is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't do that ever again because
really
of COVID. Those moments are gone.
Right.
Will we ever have an exciting? What will be the first big moment back from COVID where fans are there?
Oh.
I bet it's golf. I bet it's golf related.
You think?
Outside, I think you would get fans.
I think it's going to be a UFC fight that has a crowd. It's going to be awesome.
Connor, I don't think they're going to let them back in Vegas. Like they're just
it might not be
indoors.
that particular fight, but
any of them, they're
You mean
indoors.
like a full crowd?
Like a full crowd. What sport is going to be? I think it's golf.
well, it's going to come around summertime probably. So what's going
Golf.
on in the summer?
There'll be
Baseball
the
will be going
majors.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not going to be a big moment. You have majors going on in golf.
Okay.
So like that would be going on. Maybe the NBA finals.
Yeah, NBA finals.
If that could be happening. I bet it's golf. I bet golf is the first. We hear the crowd, something Tiger,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Get
we're
in the
back,
hole."
baby.
Yeah. That's cool.
Mashed potatoes. All right, everybody. As always, we love you. Thank you for listening very much. Go check out the Vandy coach search. Clark Lee, Notre Dame. That's my call.
I hope not, but he'd be
I
a
hope
good
so.
hire for you guys.
And
And we'll take Mason as our defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
Do
there
a
you
little
go.
trade.
Do a little trade. On the flip side of that, there's a basketball coach search. Same thing. All right. Thank you guys. We are the next one we're recording early that you will hear because I'm going to be in California doing some one night only tour. Go check that out. I have 2 shows left, San Diego, Anaheim. It's coming up because this comes out this week. Is this week. Actually, I leave Friday. So this Saturday and Sunday, I will be in San Diego, Anaheim. Come see it. California, you're about to be shut down for the rest of your life. So come outside, sit in your car, watch a show, and then the next one will be pre-recorded. So, all right, we love you as always. Thank you.